Welcome, all you wiretappers out there. Good to be back here in the studio, Gangland Wire. Retired Kansas City Police Intelligence Detective Gary Jenkins here, and I have a really interesting, different sort of an interview. We've got a man from Sicily. I started noticing this man on our podcast page, Gangland Wire Podcast, was posting, and he has a book that he's written, and it tells about his life, both in Sicily and when he came over. And when he came over, his family ended up, getting jobs and being around some of the Bonanno family. So he has a lot of experiences with this from, shall we say, from the from not really from the associate side, not even associate, more like from just somebody that lived in the neighborhood and people that had to do business with mob guys and with his roots in Sicily. So his name is Jack Amato. Welcome, Jack.
Thank you for getting me to your show.
All right.
Invited me to your show.
Well, I'm really anxious to have you now. A Father's Belief, Part 1. That's the name of your book, correct?
Yes, yes.
All right, and you can get that on Amazon, I believe, can't you?
Yes.
All right, good. We'll have links to how you click on to get that book, and in the YouTube version, I'll have a picture of it whenever we talk about it. Every once in a while, we'll have a picture of it so people will know what it looks like. And then go on the Gangland Wire Facebook group, and Jack posts quite a little bit, and he'll post a little bit about his book every once in a while and have a link to it and tell some stories from his childhood and growing up in New York City. But first of all, Jack, we just talked a little bit, and you have a really fascinating backstory in Sicily before you got to the United States. So tell me a little bit about, and tell the guys here a little bit about, where you came from. What area was that in Sicily, and what was life like over there?
I was born in Carini, Sicily, province of Palermo. The location of the town, it was on the hill. And then there was the mountains surrounded and the sea. My family were fishers by trade. It was a town with aquaculture, meaning, fruit, vegetable, everything. Cows, sheep. So there was a different type of people there, different groups. We call them, if you were connected, we call them mafiosi. Okay, that's like a May guy. Would you translate it in English, over here? So things were not good. I come from a big family, 10 kids. I was the 9th.
Yeah.
So we had to bring the family over to USA, America. So there was a matchmaking with my older brother, with another Italian girl, Sicilian. And he was the first one to come to America. He went to work for a longshoreman in Brooklyn, Red Hook section of Brooklyn. And then my father came by himself. He was 54 years old when he came.
So now, let me ask a question here. Your brother came first because of a matchmaking. A couple of families got together and who were already somebody was already over here. Is that how that worked?
Yes.
How did that work then? I mean,
okay. There was somebody from Carini. There was a cousin of my mother, first cousin, that was coming to America. So my mother said to him, I wish I could put one of my boys in your suitcase to take him to America. So with that, he never forgot that. So when he came and lived in Brooklyn, there was this Italian family that they wanted to marry somebody from Sicily. So they knew each other because he worked in the longshoreman too. The husband did. So that's how the matchmaking came about, So they show pictures each other, that's what I mean, matchmaking.
I see.
They send a picture,
yeah.
and a picture, they liked each other. And, my brother would just finish the Navy. He was like 22 years old, when he got out, he started going fishing again, but things weren't working out for the future. So really, that was the idea. they were going to come to America.
So
I'm very impressed about my father that he did that at 54 years old.
Really?
So
Really?
to me, it was like a man's man. He was a tough man to come 54 years old. Most people at 54, they want to retire. You know what I'm saying?
So now your father, he was a fisherman in your village?
Yes, for roots from the beginning.
How did he, I mean, did he have his own boat, went out and caught fish and then brought them and sold them, gutted them and cleaned them and then sold them at a market that anybody could come by, or did he sell them to a company that processed them out? What was his day-to-day life like?
Well, people would come by the boat to buy the fish, either for restaurants or regular people want to fish. And then whatever's left, we will sell it to the public. They will go out calling out, what they have, what kind of fish. Octopus was very popular and all different fishes. So you go block by block and sell it in the street. Whatever was left over, then you would sell it to the fish market, whatever reasonable price. But first they would sell it to the people, the public.
Yeah.
So that's what he did.
So then whatever's left over after all that, then you guys ate, I assume.
Oh, yeah. We have
you ate a lot of fish.
Yeah. And what we used to do we used to sometimes give it to the butchers, the fish, and we would get the meat. Like instead of money, they would change it between meat, whatever vegetable, and we get fish.
I see.
Because there was not too much money in cash.
I see.
So
you were 10 of you guys, 10 kids.
10, yes.
10. So I guess all the boys worked on the fishing boat at one time or another.
The older brother, I used to go to be, how do you say, a young boy, want to go fishing with the brothers, and more I used to be in their way than actually fish. I never fish. I go swimming in,
Yeah.
That was the thing, watch my brother fish. Yes. We have more than one boat,
Oh, okay.
We have more than one boat. There was a bigger boat with all the fishermen, like I said. It's a group. There was association that they would go fishing, real for tuna, big fishes, and the what do you call it? The town hall, they would get some kind of benefits because they would help feed the people. So they would get some kind of money given to make sure they operated good. I mean, have enough sources to go out fishing. The gasoline, everything, all the tools, the nets. So, the government, the politicians were involved there.
Interesting.
For political reasons. So,
not unlike in the United States. You probably don't know much about this. I grew up on a farm. And in the United States, the government, we have the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, and farmers can then apply for low-cost loans. They can get different things through the government to make sure, because the government wants to make sure there's enough food that's always being provided.
Exactly.
So it's the same thing. Interesting.
Same thing. Yes. Yeah, same thing. Yes. So there were that, but there was no money. People had no money. They were strapped for money. So there was not too much money going around. And he just decided, my mother and my father decide that we got to make a move. We can't stay here.
Yeah.
These kids are going to go nowhere, So like I said, I was 12. Where am I going to go?
How many were left at home when they made the move to the United States?
Well, we were actually 8. 8. Okay. My older sister was married, and my other brother got married, and then the other one got married. So 7 of us came in.
Yeah, all right.
7 of us. Okay.
So this little village that you lived in, how big was it?
Oh, 25 to 30,000 people.
Oh, I say little village, a little
bigger.
Little.
No, that's why I've said there was a lot of business there with cattle, sheep, and the sea. So there was a lot of product, but not too much work for the people.
Okay.
Because what else could do? There was no factories. But if you go today, it's all changed.
Yeah.
It's all the industry there now. It's all, it's a different thing. I mean, the business world is there now. They don't need to come to America.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, was there much tourist trade in your town?
Yeah, right now it's big. Yes,
It's big now.
Yes, they redid the castle. They do shows in there. It's called a Baronessa di Carini. It's historical.
Okay.
So they rebuilt the castle. So a lot of people do go there. There's a lot of towels now by the water. It's all changed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of villas. People retire, they go back there.
Mm-hmm.
So not for me.
Right.
I like USA.
So it's on the water then.
Well, we're in the hill, so it's like 20 minutes from the water, but from the hill, you could go and look at the ocean.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's important. Yes,
beautiful view.
Right.
You could go in the mountains, see all the valleys.
Yeah,
everything. But like I said, now it's got more populated with houses because people go back to Sicily for the summer, and then they work here. They got business, but then they will go back and live in their villa for the summer. People that are very successful.
How far are you from Palermo?
30 minutes.
30. Oh, you're real close to Palermo.
Yes.
Probably a lot of wealthy people in Palermo have the summer house out in a town like yours.
Yes, they come down. Yes, for the
bourgeois.
Like a vacation. Yes.
Yeah. So then on back inland, did you travel much around in Sicily? What's that like? What are the roads like, for example, around there? Are they just pretty small? Everything's paved, I think, but
yes, in the town itself, it's paved. The cars are very congested. I mean, now they got a lot of cars. You can't even park the cars. There's no room, so it's like very, very congested. So but when you go out of the town, the streets are big.
Okay.
They've been building. You got the highways now from the airport, goes through right straight to Palermo, but then you go past all the towns. See that the towns are located all in the hills. It's beautiful. It's like being an island. You ever been in Ireland?
Yeah.
The island? You ever
in Ireland? Ireland. It's like Ireland. Interesting.
Yeah, very. We almost got the similar flag too. That's why we keep on fighting each other, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're a copycat, they say. Because I grew up with a lot of Irish family. That we'll go into that later.
Yeah. So you mentioned the mafioso. Some people were the working people, the fishermen, and then the mafioso. I was just talking with a guy who, an Irish guy, as a matter of fact. Irish people seem to have an affinity for Sicily. An Irish guy who has bought a house over there and he's getting it fixed up, and he said for him to do this, he had to go to a local fixer that he didn't know if he was mafia or mafioso. And so kind of how does that work, this local fixer? Is that, I mean, what we think of as a mafia here in the United States, it's different, I think, than in Sicily. Can you compare that?
Well, like a real estate guy that is financier like.
Yeah.
And he goes out and find a property for you, or the seller, the buyer. That's what it used to be the way I was there.
Okay.
I don't know how they changed now. I don't know, because the only time I went back there to visit my sisters, my dad eventually retired there. He had the house by the beach. He built a home there. But I don't know much about how the law is there. The only thing I know, American law.
So as a child growing up, I guess, in this town, Sicilian town, then what was, were the schools, were they all Catholic schools, part of the church? Catholic schools, or were they public
Oh
schools
yeah,
and
yeah,
Catholic
yeah, yeah,
schools?
yeah. Only Catholic.
Only
Only
Catholic schools, and y'all
but
work.
for the town, I mean, for city school, public school, or would you call it here public school?
Okay.
There was no Catholic school.
Oh, okay.
You went to kindergarten, and that was like a big process before you do your communion.
Yeah.
You go there for 2 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do your confirmation, another 2 years. So that, if you call that a Catholic school, it was given from the church.
Okay.
A lot of churches in my town, 28 churches.
But then you went on to public school on the next several years. You went on to public school.
No, when I came to, yeah. Well, I only did there 5th grade. I didn't even finish it because I came here on December 23rd in 1965.
Okay.
So I was in the 5th grade. So I had to leave school. So I had already 4th grade at the school over there, 4.5. So when I came here, they put me in the 6th grade.
Uh-huh.
With a lot of kids. I mean, public school. Now I'm the guy that is illiterate. I was looked down because I was an immigrant. So I took my punches.
Yeah.
You know, and then I went to the 7th grade, which was junior high school.
Did you speak any English at all?
No.
When you first got there? Wow.
No,
did the school have any way for you to have extra classes in speaking English, or the church? Sometimes the church here in Kansas City, Don Bosco Center for New Immigrants, will have special classes for people to learn English, newly arrived people.
They put us in a class where they teach you the vowel, A, B, C, D, F, E, you know, and you how to pronounce it. And we were a mixture of Puerto Ricans and Italians. You know, the blacks were already English.
Yeah.
So, but that's when we came here in Red Hook. There was 3 different people: Italian, Puerto Ricans, and blacks. The projects, and the school was right in the center of the 3 areas. So when we went to school, you know, we mingled. The girls were black, the girls Spanish. So there was a lot of fighting.
I bet.
You know? We were in the middle. Me and other guys, immigrants, we were in the middle. You know, that we getting picked on all the time. Like both groups, not by the Italians, but the other groups. So you had to get into a rumble.
Yeah.
It was like a West Side Story. You know the movie?
Yeah, I do. Interesting. The Sharks
West Side
and the
Story?
Jets. Yeah, the Sharks and the Jets.
Yes. And then we had the dances every Friday night from the church, the Catholic church.
Yeah.
That time was big, like to get the kids, you know, involved with the church. We had the music, the band, and it was like I said, it was like a West Side Story. That's it. Fighting. There was fighting, stabbing.
Yeah.
You know, so my father got us out of there and went to Glendale, Queens. It was all German and Irish. That's it.
Interesting.
And he bought a luncheonette that belonged to a German family, immigrant family. There was a lot of German immigrants there. And we bought that place with the building. I mean, at that time, it wasn't a lot of money. You know, actually, we had no heat in that building, you know, the water pipes that brings in heat. So he got a good price. And there was a pizzeria like 2 blocks away. That was a mafioso. So that's how the story starts.
That's how you get started. Interesting.
That's how. Okay.
Let me ask one last question or two about life in Sicily, and then let's move on into the United States.
Yes.
In Sicily, you mentioned mafioso. So now, how did you see evidence of that? Did you hear your father and your uncles or older men talking about, he's a mafioso, or that guy's connected? Did you see any evidence of that? What do you remember about that? How ingrained in the society was it?
Okay, my father left for America. I was 9 years old. Okay, when he left, and he put me with one of his friends, a barber shop, with the cut hair, shave.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So because I was wild, going on the mountain, I wanted to see. I was very adventurous, but he was very protective, and nobody could control me. So he put me to work to sweep in the barber shop. I mean, with his friend. This way, after school, I would go there, and the guy took me in like an older brother. He was not an old guy, and people come there. They were, like I said, cattle people, sheep herders, farmers. Their own land, and that's how I coached on the type of people that were there. The residents, normal people. And there was a people, mafiosi. Sometimes they came in with a shotgun too, So because they usually watch the land. But the most that I admire was the Salvatore Giuliano, the Sicilian. Never heard of him, huh?
No.
He was like a Robin Hood.
Okay.
With a Robin Hood, like exactly. He was in Time magazine. Look it up.
Okay, say that name again a little slower. Say that name again.
Salvatore Giuliano. You just put it on from Sicily.
Okay,
the bandit Salvatore Giuliano from Montelebre.
Okay.
You can see the whole story, and there's a lot of real mafia there. I mean, the mafia, the government that's what I grew up with.
Okay.
All right. Then it turned out to be. I mean, I don't want to talk about his story. I want to talk about my story.
Right. I understand.
But he's dead. He only lived to 40 years old, maybe. It's a story, very interesting. They made a movie. Mario Puzo made a movie.
Mm.
You never heard of it?
No, but
it was called The Sicilian.
Oh, I have heard of that. I don't know if I've seen it. It's been a long time. The Sicilian. Okay, I'll definitely look that up. Okay, interesting.
Mario Puzo wrote it.
So he was from, and that man was from. I can't pronounce his name, of course. Salvatore
Giuliano.
Salvatore Giuliano was from your area down in there, from the mountains around
Montelebre, right? Okay. And to me, he was a fox hero. Because he came from a poor family too.
Mm-hmm.
And the carabinieri, means the police, they always abused them about if he had grains, they took it away from him. So he was like my fox hero. But at the end, they set him up, they kill a lot of people, and they blame him for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the story. What happened to him? He was very famous, but they want to get him out of the picture because he will fight with the police all the time.
I see. And so he was kind of a folk hero for most of the people in your town.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Not for the police.
Not for the police.
They hate him. They hated him, and the mafia hated him too.
Oh, really?
Because he didn't want to be. He wanted to be his own man. My story in America, I want to be my own man.
Yeah. Okay. That's really interesting. So in Sicily, the mafia probably is more like in Palermo and more like a national criminal organization in Sicily. But then you had somebody like Salvatore Giuliano up in the mountains who was a mafioso himself with his own crew.
Yes.
And they, all right, that is an interesting distinction between the two.
Yes, very, yes. So is my family. My uncles, they had like I said, they had to protect the fishermen. You know,
Mhm.
the doing business with people. You know, they would get shaken down too. They would
Mhm.
try to take away the goods because that's what they did. Like with the cattle or the sheeps, they used to rob from the normal farmers, and they go in the black market and sell it. You
Okay.
know, and that's how the mafia operates.
Right.
You know, they steal, they thieves, and they hurt people. But
So
you
many
know,
people in your town would then look to Salvatore to help provide some protection from these more lower rent, more almost like street
well,
criminals that were stealing from them. Is that
not that he protected the people, he protect his town. With the is the
okay?
town Montelebre, not my
Okay,
town.
not your town, but another
No,
town.
yeah,
Okay,
his town where he was born.
okay,
You know, his
interesting.
family, all the people that joined him, they were from Montelebre. So he got like a group of 40 bandits,
Hmm.
maybe more, but they're all from his town. Every town has their thing
Okay,
in Sicily. There's a mafioso in every town.
I see. Interesting. I'd heard something along those lines. I didn't quite understand it. Now I'm beginning to understand it because most of
Right,
those villages and towns are pretty remote from uh, Palermo, the major city, and
right.
um, can't think what's a major city on the other side. Um, anyhow,
Trapani. There was a
yeah,
Trapani.
Trapani, yeah, from those major cities, we get out in the mountains in the middle, then you're pretty isolated from everybody else around.
Yes, yes, yes. So the toughest guy, stands out,
I
and he
see.
help his people. And whatever it is, protect the land, protect the cattle, protect the sheeps. That was mafioso. The guy. You got to deal with this guy from town. He's got the shotgun, and he's ready to use it to protect somebody else's property.
Cool, cool.
There was no drugs, no, no,
No
no
drugs,
drugs,
yeah.
no heroin, no heroin. The only thing we would get in the town was smuggled cigarettes, American
Yeah.
cigarettes, and the big thing was gasoline,
Hmm.
black market, the gas for the boats, so that
Hmm.
was a big thing.
A lot of those, the heroin trade started out of those cigarette smugglers. There was a lot of cigarette smuggling after World War II.
Yes.
And a lot of, and that's where all those heroin traffickers came out of, that little subculture of cigarette smugglers. They realized there was a lot more money in heroin than there was in cigarettes.
Yes, yes, yes. You
Uh,
got it. You got that. Yeah.
uh, Wonder, was your father ever tempted to, since he had a boat, wonder if he was ever tempted to make
No.
a little extra money smuggling cigarettes?
Actually, I seen my father go back to Sicily once he was here in America. That they were starting to bring in heroin from boats,
Mm-hmm.
and he had to go back and make a point that they're not allowed to come to the town with that, you
Uh,
know,
uh,
with the fishermen. And there was a little bit of challenges. I don't know if somebody got killed or
yeah.
something, but never happened. They never brought the drugs.
Interesting. Well, that's quite a story from Sicily. You've got a heck of a story before you even got here, Jack. Really
But,
interesting story.
uh,
I know these guys out here, and myself included. We all are we're kind of fascinated by that life in Sicily, and it's even today. I want to get there myself one of these days. It just seems so romantic, and got these little villages around, and you kind of
yes,
get away from this crazy ass life we live in the cities here in the United States. And
Sicily is beautiful as
yeah.
far as beauty, everything. I mean, the sea, the Mediterranean is beautiful. It's like we think about in America, go to the Bahamas,
Mhm.
Bermuda. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
It's
know.
the,
I look at the videos on YouTube all the time of people that have gone there, shoot videos of Sicily, and
right. Yeah, it's
get
different.
a villa where you can see Mount Etna, from your window, your
Yeah,
balcony,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and the ocean. And the Mediterranean Sea seems so blue there. It just seems so
green,
pure,
blue,
green,
black,
crystalline, just pure. I mean, it just looks so good.
Yes.
All right, let's move along.
Okay.
In this next segment, let's move along to your life in the United States. And as your father, he had a restaurant, and there were mafia around, and they had the lunch wagon business, and so as you grew up and grew into that, and those people were in your life, let's talk about that. In the next episode, guys, be sure and watch the second part of this two-part interview with Jack Amato, a man who started his life in Sicily and saw real deal mafioso carrying shotguns around in his small town, his village, told us all about what that life was like over there. And now in the next episode, he's going to tell us what life was like for an immigrant coming from the United States who then ends up working with some of the top Bonanno people, like Rusty Ristelli. So thanks a lot, guys. Don't forget, I like to ride motorcycles. So watch out for motorcycles when you're out there on the streets. And if you have a problem with PTSD and you've been in the service, the VA website has a good hotline for that. And, alcohol and drug addiction goes right along with PTSD. And whether you've been in the service or not, you can get hold of former Gambino man, Anthony Ruggiano. He is a drug and alcohol counselor down there in Florida, and on his website and his YouTube page, he has a hotline. So give him a shot if you have a problem with drugs or alcohol. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell your friends about the podcast, and share it on your social media, and do all those kinds of things. And rest assured that I really like putting these out, and I really like getting these great mob stories like we had today, some really previously unknown mob stories. And he's got his books out there, A Father's Belief, and I'll have links to the Amazon page for those books. So look for his books. Thanks a lot, guys.